Hi friends, I hope you have a wonderful day, and this time I'm gonna be reacting to Geography Now Chile. So yeah, let's just check it out.
Hey everybody, so if you're feeling kind of Chile, make sure that... Oh shoot, what was that?
Whoa, what the heck?
Dude, are you serious?
Everything's okay.
Dude, I can't believe, whoa. Wonder what that was on the Richter scale. If somebody here was from Chile, they could probably tell us.
It's time to learn G.
At one point I thought it's actually an earthquake, but yeah. Good job.
Geography.
No! Hey everybody, I'm your host Barbie. Welcome to Chile, the country where people really know how to shake things up. But first, let's dissect the flag. The flag of Chile, otherwise known as the Estrella Solitaria, or the Lone Star, is made up of two unequal bands of white and red with a blue square in the upper left hoist side with a single 5-point star in the middle of it. The star commonly represents the guidance towards progress and honor, the blue box represents the sky and ocean, the white band represents the snow-covered Andes and the mountains, and the red stands for the blood of those who fought for the country. And that's about it. Just make sure you don't confuse this flag with the flag of Texas and you're good to go. Moving on.
Oh.
Okay, this is where things get really fun because there are virtually no countries that have the same types of parameters as Chile. Chile is located on the southwestern coast of the South American continent, bordered by Argentina, Peru, and Bolivia. At around 4,300 kilometers or 2,700 miles, Chile is the world's longest country by territory length north to south. And is also one of the narrowest land countries, the average width being about 177 kilometers or 110 miles. The broadest point by Antofagasta being only 356 kilometers, and the narrowest by Yapel at a measly 90 kilometers in width. The country is divided into 15 regions. Each region is assigned a name with a Roman numeral north to south. The only exception is the Santiago metropolitan.
Only thing, so everyone could go to the beach, right? It's easy. That's a bonus.
Region as the capital, which has its own designation under RM, or Región Metropolitana. The numeral system used to be easy. It was just up and down 1 through 13 until in 2006 two more regions were added. Los Rios in the south at number 14 and Arica and Parinacota at number 15. So you have number 15 at the top and number 14 in between 9 and 10. Why Chile didn't just number all the regions in order again? I have no idea. Shut up! That's why! The capital is Santiago, located roughly in the upper central area in the country. It's a bustling city with a history that goes back into the 16th century, blending a mix of neoclassical architecture alongside glass skyscrapers and high-rises like the Gran Torre Santiago Tower at
This view. Oh my god, the skyscraper and the mountains. It's perfect.
64 stories, and it is also the tallest building in all of South America. Chile will also tell you that their country is a tri-continental country because they have islands and territories that span across 3 continents: South America, Oceania, and Antarctica, even though the Antarctic Treaty kind of bans anyone from claiming ownership over Antarctica. But hey, Chile does have one of only 2 civilian settlements on Antarctica, Villa Las Estrellas, located on King George Island right off the Antarctic Peninsula. This place hosts about 150 people, mostly military and scientist personnel with their families. The population fluctuates during the winter season when they have fewer residents. Nonetheless, this town has a school for kids, a library, a small hospital, and a post office which offers a rare Antarctic postage stamp. The other territories they have include the Juan Fernandez Archipelago Islands, which includes Robinson Crusoe Island. Yes, people, the island that book was named after, which that guy who wrote it was marooned on. Look, guys, I'm just gonna confess, I don't really read a lot of classic literature. I just make it look like I do on this show so that it gives off the illusion that I'm a refined, classy person.
And actually, we kind of matching.
Me teach geography. The Desventuradas, or
What was that?
the Unfortunate Islands, are also owned by Chile, although they don't really have much going on for them except there's a small airstrip and naval base on San Felix Island. Then we have Islas Salas, Y Gomez, and Easter Island, located in the far-off remote Pacific, classified as the southeasternmost point of Polynesia, so technically it does belong to Oceania, even though these islands are actually closer to mainland Chile than they are to the rest of Polynesia. Salas y Gomez is uninhabited, boring, and doesn't really have anything. Easter Island is the moneymaker. Easter Island is like the Hawaii of Chile, world famous for being one of the strangest places places on Earth with petroglyphs and ancient unexplained moai statues created by the ancient Rapa Nui peoples that adorn the entire island. The country overall has about 2,000 islands, most of which are located in the South Patagonia region where things get pretty crazy. The islands in the south create an immense clustered labyrinth of cold green rocky fjords and channels, very similar to the ones in the west coast of Canada and Alaska that are hard to access. In fact, if you want to drive south to the rest of Chile, the furthest you can go is on the 7 highway until it cuts off at Villa O'Higgins. That's right, people, O'Higgins. There are Irish people that live here, where the Patagonia ice fields begin, and here you either have to go by boat or fly to any of the other south towns in Chile, like Punta Arenas or Puerto Williams. Remember from the Argentina video? The further south you go in Chile, the crazier things seem to get. Let's explain why in... One thing you have to understand is that Chile is located right on one of the most intense active fault lines in the entire world, the Ring of Fire. This means Chile as a whole is disputably the earthquake capital of the world. In fact, the largest earthquake on record happened in Valdivia in 1960 and registered a 9.5 on the Richter scale. The funny thing is, these people here...
I'm happy that we don't have those. I'm really happy about it. I seriously wouldn't know what to do if earthquake is happening and get under the table? Huh? Get in the bath? That's what I learned from movies and yeah.
really don't even care. They're so used to it and have adapted in almost every possible way to deal with it for centuries. Very few people are casualties of earthquakes, and most people can typically even tell how strong an earthquake was on the Richter scale just by feeling it. If it's over a 7.0, they usually just stand up out of their chairs and wait it out. Now add on top of that that the country has about 500 active volcanoes.
Everything is just whee. It's like on a ship. Chill, mate. What? No.
Of course, as we already discussed in the Argentina video, the northern part of Chile lies on the Atacama Desert, the driest area on Earth. The areas in the north, although dry, however, contain some of the richest deposits of copper. In fact, 6 of the top 10 largest copper mines in the world are found in Chile alone, making Chile the top copper producer. By the way, the upcoming movie The 33, starring Antonio Banderas, is based on the true story of the survival and rescue of the Chilean miners that were trapped under 2,000 feet of rock in a copper mine back in 2010. I mean, I'll watch it, but you have to admit it's kind of weird because the whole movie is mostly spoken in English with Spanish accents, so when it shows in Chile, they'll have to use subtitles for a movie about their own people from their own country.
That doesn't make sense.
Hollywood! The cool thing though is it does actually rain a few times in the Atacama every decade, and when it does, you get this incredibly rare, beautiful glimpse of the entire desert transformed into a flowering meadow. This phenomena only happens here and in other places like the Gobi Desert in Saudi Arabia. The further south
Wow. Wow.
you go, the greener it gets. Most of the agricultural lands are found in the central regions with the most formidable climates for grain and produce production. The east is completely bordered by the Andes Mountains, with Argentina on the other side, all the way to the bottom of the continent where you can find the Patagonia glaciers and ice fields, making it the coldest place in all of Chile. Or should I say the chilliest part in Chile. This geographical isolation has not only given Chile the hedge of solitude, but also has allowed the population to develop a very distinct and unique culture and attitude that sets them apart from all the rest of the Latin American countries. And here's how. Okay, I'm just gonna be straight up. Chile is kind of like the California of the South American continent. First of all, the country has just over 18 million people, about 40% of whom live in the capital, Santiago alone. Ethnicity-wise, estimates speculate that a little over 50% of the country is white, about 40% are mixed mestizo, and the rest are Amerindian. Of course, Spanish is the official language, however, the dialect is quite different from the rest of Latin American countries. Chileans tend to speak faster, and sometimes they cut off their S's and D's from words, and also they have a whole list of specific Chilean vernacular that you can't find anywhere else. For example, instead of saying cosa, you might hear wea. Instead of hearing fiesta, you might hear the word carrete. And depending on the
that kind of sounded totally different, but okay.
context, the word weon could either mean buddy or something along the lines of stupid little punk. ¿Cómo estás, weon? Versus, ¿eres weon o qué? See, the thing is, unlike Argentina, Uruguay, and Brazil, Chile never really got an influx of various European nationalities migrating to their country. Back in the Industrial Revolution times, the only way to get to Chile would be to either cross the Drake Passage, which would take a lot longer than stopping on the east coast of the continent, or you would have to cross the Andes Mountains, which would was even more difficult. This means that Chile has a higher concentration of whites that identify with Spain as their source of heritage. Speaking of which, the South Central and South areas have a long history of indigenous Mapuche heritage. The Mapuches make up a majority of Chile's indigenous population, and for the longest time, were actually able to fight off the Spanish invaders. Most of Chile's mestizos are descended from the Mapuches, and today they make up a strong population over 1.5 million. Then you have Easter Island, which has a majority of Polynesians that speak their own language, the Rapa Nui, and in the North Deserts you can still find decent populations of Aymara and Quichuas, mostly from Peru and Bolivia, whom by the way believe the land belongs to them. Bolivia still wants that ocean. As one of South America's most stable and prosperous nations, Chile has the highest degree of economic freedom and GDP per capita in the Latin world. Chile's IT and programming sectors have boomed in recent years, with high-tech corporations and startups popping up all over, especially in Santiago, making Chile sort of like the Silicon Valley of South America. Plus, surfing is huge out here. See, it really is like the California of South America. Culture-wise, Chileans will tell you that they are kind of like the outcasts of the Latino countries.
About the California, I will say okay, because I totally don't know.
And for a number of reasons. The country is known for its illustrative poetry that eventually got them 2 Nobel Prize winners. Cuisine varies from region to region, but one thing Chileans are not short of is seafood. With a coastline that long, you're probably gonna find some gills on your plate. With a unique platter of Pacific fish, Chile likes to claim that they have the best ceviche in the world. Strong words to say to your neighbors, Chile. Now let's see what those neighbors think about you. Now here's the thing, historically Chile has had a lot of drama both domestically and abroad. Chile has had more coups d'etats than any other country in the world at around 40. Everything didn't settle down until about the 1970s. On top of that, they've also had wars and scuffles with every single one of their immediate neighbors. Even though Peru and Bolivia do business with Chile out of courtesy, the reminders of the Pacific War still linger on, and overall, they both kind of roll their eyes at Chile. Argentina is the biggest rival of Chile, and even though they have some of the closest economic ties, Chile helped the British in the Falkland War, so Argentina kind of sees them as a little bit of a traitor. And again, don't even get started on the soccer matches. Because of this, Chile has kind of had to branch out and reassess their diplomatic intents abroad. Outside of Latin America, Chile rubs shoulders with the US, Australia, New Zealand, and oddly enough, the UK as well. Back in the Australian gold rush, Chile was a major supplier of wheat and food. Trade began and fully developed within years. The US's relations have grown exponentially since the 80s, and as of 2014, Chile became the only Latin American country to have a visa waiver program entering into the US. Chile and the UK have a strange historical relationship. The British originally wanted to take over Chile and even teamed up with the Mapuches for a while in an attempt to keep the Spanish out. In a sense, the UK has always kept an eye on Chile, even though they never got to colonize it, and to this day, the ripples of that show through their diplomatic engagements. In terms of their best friends, however, Chile might probably say Colombia and Mexico. The countries all share the Pacific Alliance trade bloc. Colombians love moving into Chile and add a delightful warm Caribbean vibe to the otherwise colder atmosphere of the country. In conclusion, Chile may be the skinny, isolated country with lots of stuff going on, but when things get overwhelming, they just shake it off. Stay tuned. Oh boy. China is coming up next.
He looked kind of in pain. Oh my. This was something. I kind of wanted to know more about food, you know. It was so tiny segment. I forgot the name of the food. Sorry. So basically everything is about the fish, right? And that totally makes sense. I would totally love to see the desert with those flowers. That was something, seriously, wow. So yeah, I really hope that you did enjoy this video, and if you did, please consider to leave a like and subscribe, and yeah, if you have other suggestions, please leave them in my Discord server, and hopefully I'm gonna see you next time. Take care. Bye!